From the Rogue Word Studio in Dallas, Texas, it's The Lit Show with Jeremy Fee. New episode each Tuesday. Authors welcome, comments encouraged. Hello everyone, welcome to The Lit Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Fee. As always, I've got something special for you today. It's a series spotlight for The Bloodsworn by John Gwynne. This fantasy series is set to be a trilogy. I previously last year made a video about book 1 in the series, The Shadow of the Gods. That book came out just awesomely with that fantastic cover of the epic looking supersized dragon with the tiny little person on the cover compared to that massive dragon. And of course the title of the book was The Shadow of the Gods, so it should have been obvious to all of us that that was no ordinary dragon, but some god level epic monster dragon. And I'm not going to give you spoilers for the story, but today I want to talk about book 2 in the series, The Hunger of the Gods. As always, when I get a book from NetGalley, I want to thank NetGalley, the publisher and the author, for making that book available, and that is true once again here. So thank you Orbit Books, thank you John Gwynne, thank you NetGalley. I did pre-order this book, The Hunger of the Gods, as soon as I saw it was available for pre-order online, but I was really excited because the book doesn't come out until April 12th. I saw it on NetGalley, I asked to be able to read it, and I was so happy that they approved my request so that I could get it read before it's released to the general public and give my thoughts to you. As always, I appreciate you out there listening to my YouTube videos. Hopefully you like what you're hearing and you're able to click the like button and leave me comments down below. I feel like when the first book in the series came out, I was telling everyone, you've got to read this, you've got to read it. I even bought a copy for my best friend to read. I was just encouraging everyone I knew, leaving comments on YouTube videos because I was that excited about the book. John Gwynne has written at least 7 books before this one. He had at least 2 different series, but I hadn't read them. It was my first introduction to John Gwynne with The Shadow of the Gods, and I was so impressed. This Norse-inspired or Viking-inspired fantasy literature is really good. There is magic in there. In the first book, the magic seems very low-level, tame. It's got more of a realistic combat feel, kind of like the old Conan the Barbarian stories where you knew there were sorcerers or witches out there, you knew there were monsters or god beings potentially, but a lot of it is about the combat and the characters surviving interesting situations. So it was a lot of fun, though in the end, again, no spoilers, but it does build up to huge epic level events by the end of the first book. And I'm happy to say with book 2, my favorite character, Orca, is still out there. In book 1, she's on a quest. She's trying to find somebody. And here she is in book 2, where we've had some amazing reveals from the end of book 1, which provides for some new character interactions and some new understandings of the character Orca. She's not the only one back, though. The first book was pretty much the point of view shifting with Orca, Varg, and Elvar. John Gwynne takes some more liberties in book 2, gives us some more characters that we get to know even better at a more personal level, and that is fun. I know that in the past I have complained some with some of the Dungeons and Dragons, Forgotten Realms type of books where they spend too much time on the bad guy's point of view. I feel like sometimes I get annoyed by some of those bad guys. I don't really care to have a bunch of chapters from their point of view, but John Gwynne does a good job of it here. I like the way that John Gwynne gave us these different characters to look at and think about, and you do get a lot of moral ambiguity, perhaps gray area going on as you see what these different characters experience, what they're going through, which might just cause you to feel a little bit of sympathy for some of the characters that you might have originally hated or disliked because they were antagonists up against the characters that you really really like a lot. Orca's story is my favorite. I'm really enjoying what they're doing with this story. I was leaving comments on some other videos and discussing some of this with others. Ian over there at Out of This World Reader was saying he's wondering what's going to be on the cover of the third book, and I think that is an awesome question, because the first book was the giant epic dragon, the second book is the huge epic level wolf, and that leaves you wondering which godlike being, epic monster creature is going to be on the cover of the third. I would be willing to take some bets here to discuss that as well, because once you've read the book, you may have a sense or an idea of it. Though admittedly, after reading the first book, I wasn't really sure about the second one. In my mind, I thought, how will they possibly try to top or even match the cover of the first book? And that's one of the reasons that it's so exciting. You've got the great cover art, you've got really interesting characters, you've got a fun fantasy storyline that is building up with epic proportions, and these characters going through so much in their adventures, and so much that they deal with, which changes them as well. That's something else that's nice about the series. You get to see what is changing the characters and how they deal with these different situations. It's not all good news. It's not all bad news either. I also want to compliment John Gwynne because the combat is pulled off really well, and without giving a bunch of info dumps necessarily, as a reader, I feel like I understand the culture, the religions, so much from the world building, just from the characters traveling, dealing with combat situations, talking to each other. It just naturally flows in there. So I believe that it's brilliant writing. It's really well done. That's it for today's book talk. I just wanted to quickly give a series spotlight, encourage all of you out there to consider this series. And the one issue that I know is stopping some people from reading it is they want to wait until a series or trilogy is completely published before they read it, because they have been burned by authors like Patrick Rothfuss, George R.R. Martin, or Pierce Brown, and they have been sitting around waiting for the next book in the series that they love. And I don't think that's going to be any problem whatsoever with John Gwynne, because John Gwynne seems to have a regular publishing schedule and is easily able to provide these books. So even if you're that kind of person who's hesitant to try an unfinished series, I'd say go for it. The first book is definitely worth it on its own, but now you can read the first two books back to back if you wanted to, and that's going to be really exciting. All right, have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful week. I will be back next Tuesday, of course, because every Tuesday is a good Tuesday for a book talk. Peace.